Welcome back to Analytical Media. We are a consortium, a group of therapists, college professors, academics, and well-published peer-reviewed authors. Today we're going to discuss unhappiness and most likely depression. And here is the letter written to us. Most of my life I've been unhappy. I am struggling to see what good is in my life, and I am focusing too much on what's bad. And I think I'm turning into one of those grumpy persons nobody likes. Before I get on to what's bothering me, I'm going to share some information to give you the context. I didn't have the most idealistic childhood. My family still is, really poor. And I never had what other kids were having. No toys, no school trips, no nice clothes, which made me feel like I am less worth when I was younger. My parents were trying to be loving, but both of them had clinical depression, which is poorly treated, and I never had support, not the support I needed. I had to grow up way before my peers. Thankfully, I managed to get scholarship and get into med school, which I'm graduating this year. I love medicine, but it is very tiring and time-consuming, and I never got the chance to feel and experience all the things I've been missing when I was younger. In the meantime, both of my parents got sick physically, as my father had a heart attack and my mother had occlusion of carotid artery and is under high risk for stroke. And they still struggle with depression, but they are coping as best as they can. I am their support, and not the other way around as it should be. I feel like it's always been that way. We don't have much family except for my sister, who got married and now has 3 kids, which is a perfect excuse for why she can't help. I know it may feel that I was pitying myself. I'm aware that I have it better than most of the kids. I got into really hard college, and I'm doing great in it, and I love what I'm studying, but still I'm very negative. Like, I don't appreciate the life I have. It's hard for me to feel happy for other people. I am often jealous, and when someone around me is very happy, I find excuses not to like that person. I gossip a lot, and I hate myself for it. There have been many deaths around me for the past year, and it made me aware that I'm going to die someday. And I don't want to die as a sad, grumpy person who didn't know how to live. What can I do for myself to be less negative? Sorry for the long letter. Thanks in advance for your reply. According to the writer of this letter, both parents had clinical depression and still do. And though this person is very happy in medical school, doing very well, they are not happy. The writer says, "It's hard for me to feel happy for other people. I am often jealous, and when someone around me is very happy, I find excuses not to like that person. I gossip a lot, and I hate myself for it." Obviously, without in-person evaluation, we cannot make a diagnosis of any kind. This may be clinical depression as the parents have been diagnosed. This may not be. It simply may be unhappiness. This person has been cheated out of their childhood, did not have a happy home, and felt deprived and neglected, didn't have toys, never had a vacation, and didn't have the love of their parents. And this person felt like they were the caretaker, the caregiver of the parents. So it comes to the question of what should make someone happy. How about getting into medical school? How about doing well in medical school? How about the status of a medical doctor? How about the income, the future income of a medical doctor? How about the respect that's given to medical doctors? Most people would think that's enough to be happy. But obviously, this person is not happy. And that brings up the whole question, what will make you happy? What will stop your unhappiness? Was Carl Jung right when he said that depression was an attempt to move you to what would make you happy, to bring you into the unconscious and compare who you are right now with who you need to be, who you need to become to be happy? The long and the short of it is this is an individual, the writer of this letter is an individual who would benefit from good therapy, good counseling. I mean, we're willing to agree that not all dermatologists are equal. Maybe the average dermatologist is average. Your run-of-the-mill dermatologist, your normal dermatologist is normally gifted, normally capable. But there'll be some bad ones, and there will certainly be some excellent ones. So we'll agree that not all dermatologists are equal. So when you open up that phone book and you look for a dermatologist, recognize they're not all the same. And some may be able to help you, whereas other people would not only not be able to help you, but they might make your condition worse. The same thing, and perhaps much more so, could be said about therapists. They're not all the same either. They're not a loaf of bread. You don't shop for a loaf of bread, buy the cheapest loaf of bread. They're not all the same. Not every loaf of white bread is equal to every other loaf of white bread. Not every dermatologist is equal to every other, and not every therapist is equal. That's why I said good therapy. The wrong therapy might make the situation worse, or not help at least. And not helping would be much better than making it worse. But good therapy could greatly improve this person's life. Both of this person's parents are clinically depressed. Perhaps that's been passed on to the writer, the med student, either genetically, physically, or behaviorally. They learned the behavior of the parents and their approach to life. So life could be good, life should be good, but you have to work for that. You can't just take it for granted or hope for the best. You have to work at it. Abraham Maslow's self-actualization as a form of therapy would be excellent. Carl Jung's individuation as a form of therapy would also be excellent. And both of them rely on making you more like who you were really supposed to be, to bring the real you, or the self, into reality, into existence, or to actualize it. And it's an ongoing process. It's a process of self-actualization or individuation from the time it begins in life till the time of death. You're constantly becoming more. And how will you know if your therapy is effective? Because you'll feel better and better and better and better. In Freudian therapies, you don't feel any better. The first year, second to third to fourth, you don't feel better until the very last session when you're cured. That's how it works. With Jungian therapy or Maslow's therapy, you should feel a little bit better all the time. You should have more to think about after every session, more insight into your own being. And you should feel it, should feel a little improvement after every session, a little bit. And that adds up because it's a continual process. Children that have had unconditional love grow up to be further along, happier, more developed. And the more trauma in a childhood, the more neglect in the childhood, the more likely someone will be very unhappy or depressed as they grow older. Therapy with a good therapist, could and should work wonders for this individual. Now, you might say, is depression a psychological thing or is it a physical thing? Are my serotonin levels too low and that's why I'm depressed? Or does my depression cause my serotonin levels to be too low? Which came first? It's sort of not that important. It is true raising your serotonin levels should make you feel better, but not always. For some people, it make them feel much worse. The chemistry of the brain is very, very complicated, and one size does not fit all. However, medication might be important in the beginning. You might not need it forever, or you might not need it at all. Either way, you can find out. You can take a psychologically based therapy, try it. If you don't get better, you can try something else. You can try the medication first. And if you're not getting better, you can try a psychological approach in conjunction with the physical approach or instead of the physical approach. You've heard the old saying, the proof is in the pudding. It means whether this is good is not debatable. You don't need to debate it, whether something's good. If you want to know if something tastes good, if it's good pudding, the proof is the pudding. Taste it. The taste that's in that pudding tells you if it's good or bad. The same thing's true with therapy. If you don't like it, chances are it's not going to do you any good. If you like it, well, the proof's in the pudding. It's not that simple, obviously. And if you're so bad that you can't get out of bed, and you haven't bathed in 3 months or showered, if nothing makes you happy, you have a very serious condition that must be treated medically, at least initially. You need help and you need it immediately. Very likely need to be hospitalized for a short term. But after that, maybe you're going to work. Just as the writer of this letter is going to medical school. You're functioning, but you're not happy. You know something's not right. It's not good. There are things you know are simply not right. You know they should be better. But you get up every day and go to school. You get up every day and go to work. You take care of people. You pay your bills. You're functioning. You're just not happy. You think there should be so much more in life. You sense there should be more. You think you see it in the eyes of other people. And you should look for that. Therapy is the best way to accomplish that. The very best way. And what kind and many different types? You should ask your therapist what model he follows. They don't follow the same models. And a model that helps you grow to become more than you are, that helps yourself to become real or actualized in this world, is what we at Analytical Media would always recommend. If you have the time, if you're functioning in life but simply not happy, you can choose the direction. If you do nothing but sleep, you can't go to work, you haven't gotten out of bed literally in months or even weeks, you don't have the time. You need quick treatment. You should talk to your PCP and see who he would recommend as a psychiatrist, and hopefully you would receive some inpatient therapy. But when you're good enough to choose outpatient therapy, you can choose the type of outpatient therapy that you feel is most appealing to you. And if it doesn't work after 3 weeks, try something else. One might think that the writer of this letter, the medical student, should be very happy. They got into a medical school, that's hard. They're doing really well in the medical school. They got a scholarship to the medical school. They're almost done with medical school. They should be making a grand living, a good living with great respect and even admiration. It should all be coming their way, but they're not happy. Remember that. It doesn't matter. If they were a billionaire, it might not matter. If they were the most well-known medical doctor in America, having written 25 books and appeared on every television program, they still might not be happy. And that's normal. That doesn't mean they've survived. They may even have prospered, but it doesn't mean they're happy. But happiness is out there. Contentment, a meaningful life, is out there and quite achievable. This is Analytical Media. We are a consortium of academics, clinicians, and authors, well-published, peer-reviewed authors. We hope these videos are doing some good, are helping some people. That's our goal. That was our intention to start the channel. If you like this, if you think other people would like it, if you know anyone, share this with them, like it, subscribe to the channel. You know that action may help us to help many other people. Having said that, I wish you the best. I'll see you the next time we post. I hope you will join us in our next post. Take care.